Hello, this is Andy's Golf and Travel Diary here in my hometown of Binghamton, New York, the Triple Cities, Endicott, New York, with the Dick's Sporting Goods Open. And I am here with Mason Mastroianni, the creative genius of the BC comic strip. Mason, this was a beautiful breakfast and just a beautiful, beautiful experience. And I've never interviewed a comic strip creator before. What's it like to be you?
It's often awkward. It's a great living. I can't complain. I get to draw every day and hopefully make people laugh. It's a very, very nice living.
Awkward but not controversial. But how do you look at life? When you come to a breakfast, some people come to eat the food and listen. What is the creative spark in you that gives you an idea to go back home and do the next comic strip?
Inspiration comes from everywhere. It's usually situational. Somebody will say or do something funny, and I'll record it somewhere back here in a part that I've developed over the years, and spit it out later in cartoon form.
Awesome. Well, do you have a couple minutes to answer a few more questions?
Absolutely.
Mason, tell me your experience these last 9 years doing the BC comic strip.
It's been great. It's been very fast. It feels like just last year I took it on, but I got into it pretty quick. So it felt natural. My grandfather and I were close, so it felt natural. And plus, I was an illustrator for many years and an animator, so it was a good fit.
When you look back to your childhood, what's your first memory of working with your grandfather Johnny Hart in a creative sense?
It's funny. We had a very close relationship, but we didn't talk about art a lot. I think there's like this innate respect of boundaries when it came to art. His work was where he went. That's where he went, to his cave to do his work, and he always supported me doing mine. But we never really collaborated or did those. We talk about artist issues, but we wouldn't necessarily work together on projects. It's a strange relationship, but I think a lot of artists have that relationship, even if they're close friends.
Was there a transitional period between the two of you where you co-created or he shared his dreams of the future for the strip?
No, nothing like that at all. He passed somewhat suddenly, so I had 6 weeks of lead to take it on. We had talked informally about me taking on the strip at some point, maybe if he had chosen to retire, those kinds of things. But it was just so sudden that we didn't really have any real time to formally discuss it,
And for the record, I know BC Open, we're here in Broome County. It also could refer to Before Christ. In the comic strip, what does BC stand for?
That's funny. My grandfather started, he became religious in the 80s, started the strip in the 50s. I think that any religious connotation the strip had came later. It was just kind of a happy accident, But I think he wanted to name it BC just for the caveman aspect of it, and the lead character's name is BC, of course. And it's funny how it worked out that way, isn't it? It's funny how it worked out that way.
And what is the future of the comic strip? What do you see the characters developing and the storylines continuing?
Well, I like to keep them as true to their original as possible, knowing that unintentionally a new flavor will come into them through my own writing, and so we don't necessarily have anything that's too big of a loop for you designed for the future of the strip. We don't have like let's take it this way. It's really just kind of organic.
Great. And how do you think your grandfather's faith and your faith has impacted the strip? And allowed you to be so creative and so connected with people?
That's a really good question. I think the answer for him would be completely different than my answer might be. We used to talk about it a lot. I think maybe the strip itself isn't really all that different than it would be, but the love for it is, the love to do well. Like, I hear a lot of people today at this event, we hear a lot of people talking about, some of the golfers were saying that the perspective changed as part of their faith, and it's not as important when things go bad, not as detrimental, and not as all-encompassing when things go really well. And I think it's probably the same kind of thing that is occurring there. Whether or not that comes through in the strip, I'm not sure, but I'm sure it does in positive ways.
Well, Mason, being a native of Broome County, the Triple Cities, Binghamton, Johnson City, Endicott, it was a true pleasure to be here today and to meet you and to get to know your creativity and your faith here, and also to capture the spirit of your grandfather. Thank you very much for being part of Andy's Golf and Travel Diary.
Oh, absolutely. It was a pleasure to meet you, Andy.